Hello, welcome to Discovering the World of Natural Health. I'm your host, Claiborne Holtzman. We at Remedy This Naturally, 1140 Benvenue Road in Rocky Mount, are there to help you be able to have a better quality of life naturally, to help you look within yourself and see what needs to be done physically, mentally, spiritually, financially, what needs to be done in those areas of your life so you can have a better quality of life, and if the natural approach can benefit you. That's what it's all about. And today we're going to talk about some things. We're going to talk about what you personally can do and how you personally can take control and take charge of your life when it comes to depression. Today, March the 15th, we're doing it live. And when other times you see this, it'll be a rebroadcast. And we look forward to you learning and being able to implement as much as possible that works with your circumstances and your needs and your desires, that you would be able to be healthy, wealthy, and wise about your health and what you can do with it to have a better quality of life. Check us out at Remedy This Naturally, 1140 Benvenue Road. Check out the cafe. It is cool. Take advantage of the contract post office that's there to help you in your mailing needs. I say we help you to stop, to shop, and to send. 3 things right there for your benefit. Okay? You guys are special. You are doggone special, and I am proud to be able to have the opportunity to spend a little while with you as we talk about depression. It is a whole body illness. Now think about that for a moment. Remember, I talk about it over and over and over again. Physical, mental, spiritual, financial. Everything is tied in. You can't separate it. It all influences who we are, and what we do or don't do. And so the idea is to get us whole, W-H-O-L-E, whole. And so depression involves the whole body. Nervous system, moods, thoughts, and behavior. So depression is, I stopped right there and said it involves the whole body, the nervous system, our moods, our thoughts, and our behavior. All of that is part of what makes depression. It affects the why you eat and the way you eat, the way you sleep, the way you feel about yourself, and the way you react to and think about people and things. We think about the people and things around about us. There are a lot of influences within our environment. In my environment, it used to be a 10-foot rule. I don't know how we come up with a 6-foot rule. Why not 5 foot, 4 foot, or 10 foot? But I'm asking you to think about it and the way you react to think about people and things around you. Some symptoms that people have about depression, can last a week, a month, and even years. There are many types of depression with various in the number of symptoms. There's severity and persistence. So there are degrees. There are things that are influencing us today that will not influence us tomorrow. Therefore, we may be depressed today, and then all of a sudden, now that sports are coming back into activity and you're able to get involved and root for your team and have somebody to think about other than yourself and what's going on in your life, then it actually makes a difference as to how we deal with or how much we are influenced by depression. So our influence, or it actually can be the catalyst that starts us in depression. People with depression typically withdraw and hide from society. So if you're having it and you're saying, well, I just don't like to be around people, is it due to the fact that you could have symptoms for that purpose? People lose interest in things around them and become incapable of experiencing pleasure. Symptoms of depression include chronic fatigue, sleep disturbances. Now, the sleep disturbances, most people think is, well, I'm not able to sleep, so therefore I've got insomnia. But not only is depression in where you're not able to sleep, but it could be you can't wake up, so to speak. So sleep can go either way as to how it affects your depression. Too much sleep, too little sleep. You can get irritable both ways. There could be a change in your appetite. Backaches, headaches, digestive disorders, restlessness, irregularity, quickness to anger, loss of interest or pleasure in hobbies and feelings of worthiness. I should say, if you're worthy or unworthy, it can affect how we feel. Or maybe I feel inadequate. I am not all I can be or should be or could be, don't know what I'm supposed to be. Things appear bleak and time seems to pass slowly. A person with depression may be chronically angry and irritable, sad and despairing, or display little or no emotion at all. Some try to sleep off depression or do nothing but sit and lie around. Or you get in front of Cyclops, the big TV like you're watching right now and watching me on. But thank goodness you're getting something to help you in a positive way. And, if you're depressed, you could be zombified. You could be looking at what you're seeing here and not connecting with the positive that we're sharing for you to be able to have a better quality of life naturally. So that's important. Excuse me. Here we talked about the headaches, we talked about the backaches, we talked about digestive disorders, restlessness, irritability, quick to anger, loss of appetite or interest in hobbies, feel worthless or inadequate. Things appear bleak and time seems to pass slowly. And a person with depression may be chronically angry and irritable, sad and despairing, or display little or no emotions at all. Some try to sleep it off or do nothing but sit or lie around. The two major classifications of depressive disorders are unipolar and bipolar. Unipolar disorders are characterized by depressive episodes, excuse me, that most occur at least several times in the course of a person's life. Bipolar disorders usually begin as depression, but as they progress, they're involved alienating or alternating episodes of depression and mania. As a result, bipolar depression is commonly known as manic depression. This section focuses primarily on various types of unipolar bipolar or unipolar depression. The cause of depression are not fully understood, but they are probably many and varied. Depression may be triggered by tension, stress, a trauma. You know, you have a trauma in your life. Someone dies, someone passes, just a divorce argument. Depressions may be triggered by tension, stress, traumatic life event, chemical imbalances in the brain, thyroid disorders, upset stomach, headache, nutritional deficiencies, poor diet, consumption of sugar, mononucleosis, lack of exercise, endometriosis, any serious physical disorder or allergies. One of the most common causes of depression is food allergies. Hypoglycemia, which is low blood sugar, is another common cause of depression. So there is a lot of stuff that's affecting us and how we respond, and whether we chose to be happy, irritable, depressed. We have a choice in it. Now, if there's a deficiency and you need to put something back into the body and you don't do it, then that could be a physiological or a hormonal change, and you're going through the change in life or going through the monthly cycle when it comes to the female. Heredity is a significant factor in this disorder. In up to 50% of the people suffering from recurrent episodes of depression, one or both of the parents also experience depressions. So look at, be upfront with what's been going on in your life and your parents and whoever are main character figures in your life. Whatever the factors that trigger it. So basically, it doesn't really make a difference what you say is the cause of the depression. You know, if something triggers it, the depression begins with a disturbance in the part of the brain that covers moods. So there is brain waves that cover mood. Most people can handle everyday stress. Their bodies readjust to these pressures. When stress is too great for a person and his or her adjustment mechanism is unresponsive, depression may be triggered. Okay? Perhaps the most common type of depression is a chronic low-grade depression called dysthymia. The condition includes long-term and/or occurrence of depression symptoms that are not presently disable, but keep a person from functioning normally, and interference with social interactions. And enjoy the research has found that the type of depression often results from unconscious, blank thinking habits. There's double depression is a variation of dysthymia, and that a person is chronic low-grade depression periodically experiences major depressive episodes, then turns to his or her normal, mildly depressed state. Some people become more depressed in the winter than, this thing about being quote-unquote locked down, put up, stay in your house, don't go nowhere. That's like winter months. When the days are shorter and darker, this type of disorder is known as seasonal affective disorder, or SAD. Women are more likely to suffer from SAD, seasonal affective disorder, than men are. People who suffer this type of depression in the winter months lose their energy, suffer anxiety attack, gain weight as a result of craving and wrong food. You know, just thinking about wrong food, snacking, grabbing, gotta go. Sleep too much and have to reduce, and you know, it just affects your sex drive. Many people get depressed around December holidays, while most of them probably have just holiday blues. Some of them may be suffering from social affective disorder. Suicide seem to be the highest during this time of year. And when people are constricting you, holding you accountable, or holding you accountable, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't be yourself. You got to listen to someone else being the voice and not the voice on the inside of you. It's making a major, major change in our life and our health. Some researchers believe that depression can be caught like a cold or flu. In his book, Contagious Emotions, Staying Well When Your Loved One is Depressed, and it's by Dr. Ronald M. Podell, says that in marriage, if one partner is chronologically depressed, both probably will be. Researchers have found that some people are powerful mood transmitters. Some people are responsible, they just something about them. You don't want to be around them. They bring in bad vibes. You know, and some people are receivers of mood. Mood transmitters are control the mood of a family or group of coworkers just by being in the room. Most receivers are very susceptible to the changing mood of those around them. This subconscious interaction is most dangerous when the mood transmitter is exhibiting depression through constant moodiness, anger, anxiety, or sadness. He or she can be then give a case of depression to others. We don't want to point no fingers, right? There's actually people who just by being around them cause depression. Now, these numbers, these are some older numbers, but depression affects an estimate 11 million Americans every year and is on the rise. It's twice as common in women as in men. This disorder is focus of considerable amount of research, and we learn more about this disease in all its complexity. Perhaps we will abandon the catch-all category called depression and diagnose people according to their particular chemical imbalances. Chemical imbalances. When you make, for those who do, bake a cake, and you do not have all the ingredients for the recipe, and you leave it out, the cake's not going to turn out the way it's supposed to be. And the same way with us, if we're missing within us the chemicals that we're supposed to have to help us physically, mentally, spiritually, and financially be who we are, and we don't have them in the right proportions, then we're not going to get the right out of the person who we are. Foods greatly influence the brain's behavior. If food influences the brain's behavior, then do we not be more considerate about the food? Instead of putting in starches, fats, carbonation, what about fresh fruits and vegetables and water and things that help us have a better quality of life from a natural, holistic ingredients going into our system? So, repeat to you, foods greatly influence the brain's behavior. We believe that a poor diet, especially consistent snacking on junk foods, is a common cause of depression. The levels of brain chemical called neurotransmitters, which regulate our behavior, are controlled by what we eat. And neurotransmitters are closely linked to mood. The neurotransmitters most commonly associated with mood are dopamine, serotonin, and norepinephrine. When the brain produces serotonin, tension is eased. When it produces dopamine or norepinephrine, we tend to think and act more quickly and are generally more alert. Environment, content of food is critical when it comes to depression. At the neurotransmitter, back up. At the neurochemical and physiological level, neurotransmitters are extremely important. These substances carry impulses between nerve cells. The substance that processes the neurotransmitters called serotonin is the amino acid tryptophan. The consumption of tryptophan increases the amount of serotonin made by the brain. Thus, I'll say it again, thus, eating complex carbohydrates, which raises the level of tryptophan in the brain, thereby increasing serotonin production, has a calming effect. High protein foods, on the other hand, promote the production of dopamine and epinephrine, which promotes alertness. So, what then do we need to think about? What do we need to talk about? I think we need to talk about the foods. I think we need to talk about the nutrition and how it will affect us positively or negatively. And some of these things may not, I may talk about L-tryptophan, I may talk about different things and pantothenic acid, etc. You know, I may bring them as to part of the lecture we're doing today so you can have the best quality of life and do it naturally. And if we can do something that is needed for us, then think about it. Maybe we should look deeper into it. But in the meantime, think about it this way. I need to know that there is something that is deficient because I've used it up, I'm not putting it back into my system, or I didn't have it anyway. Think about this for a moment. No longer, it's fine with me. All right. I came into this world because my mama gave me birth. Daddy got me started, mama gave me birth. What happened next? How am I, as a embryo and a fetus in my mother's womb, developing? I am developing per the nutrition and nourishment from my mother through my umbilical cord. And she is feeding me and developing me according to what she's able to supply as an infant. And as I am in the womb, I am growing and becoming and having my existence because of what I am being fed. Dad got me started. Mom keeps me going. And then once I am born, we've got to find out what is there. But the point I want to stress at this point, it's a point, oh, we won't go there. The point is very simple. Does my mother have everything she has in her system to supply with me getting 100% of what I need to develop my internal organs, my brain, my total being, inside and outside. Does mom have everything she needs for me? Is mom eating what she needs for me? That's why in the Amish people say, when you are in the motherly way, that means a female who is pregnant in the motherly way, that you feed the embryo, feed that baby inside of you what it needs so it can develop. But the point I've been leading up all this time, mama don't have everything she needs. Well, first, I should start out this. Fourth of all, that was weird, Claiborne. Fourth of all, and I say that because Chris was number 1, Reuben was number 2, George was number 3, Claiborne was number 4. So mom has been giving birth to children other than me. And I wasn't the first, I was the 4th. So mom, the baby's going to take what it needs to grow where it needs to grow. So if Chris took what it take when he was the firstborn, and Reuben came along and he used up so-and-so, and mama never put it back, there's probably a deficiency within Reuben. And then George comes along after that, and mom's already given birth to Reuben and Chris, and now she must have everything she needs to develop George in every stage of his life, or be putting it back in. Most of all, how many of you even thought about that until I just said something about it? How many of you ever given it any thought? You know, we talk about prevention and saying we need to provide what the body needs so it doesn't get sick or develop a shortage, so to speak. Let's say this. I believe that if we can put in the right ingredients, and I would love for those ingredients to come from what was in the Garden of Eden, so to speak. In other words, everything was in the garden for every need of Adam and Eve to have. But it gave them something that they chose not to take advantage of. Guess what that was? The free will to trust God and let God help them make their decisions and not override God and kick him to the curb so they could have their way. We're still doing the same thing, folks. We'd rather go have, in my lifetime, an RC Cola and a moon pie. Neither one of them was of much nutrition to my body when I enjoyed them. I was just substituting, as Tom used to tell me, and he says, time to go get some lunch because I got to satisfy what I put in my mouth. In other words, what was put in the mouth, just because it was having something in there to make it have to chew on and to enjoy, wasn't necessarily what it took for me to be made whole and give me the better quality of life. And the cells die off in your body, okay? It's just like, if you don't think things die off in your bed, how many of you see the skin that's left in your bed on your sheets after a night's of sleep? It's got to be replaced. What do you got to replace it with? What herbs or what plants help with skin so it doesn't dry out, so it's not too oily, what keeps it in balance. That's when it comes to what we need to know when it comes to talking about natural health, prevention, and God's chemistry. So, going back and reiterate. Am I missing things in my body when I got here and I was born into this earth? Absolutely. Why? Because Mom didn't have everything she needed for me because she had to share it with George, Reuben, and Chris. And starting from the top, Chris was top. Mom, even deficiency on the firstborn. Because as a child and as a woman growing up, during those years of being born, back in, she was born 1918, year of the pandemic then. So, if you can understand the point I'm trying to get across, it's my personal belief that we are missing stuff in our body, therefore we crave stuff, but a lot of times we put something in there as a substitute instead of what we need. All right, so with that in mind, what should we do? Let's talk about it, and let's just hit on a couple of these, and then we can talk about recommendations. If you are a person that feels a little depressed, robbed of your love and affection, and become depressed about it, then let's take and let's talk about it. Let's make a change. And especially if any of you that are listening and you have been given the gift of carrying a baby, and it's a baby, maybe called a fetus, but it's a baby inside of you. Maybe you will be more conscientious. Maybe it's not you that's carrying the baby, but maybe you, the grandparent, or brother or sister. And you want to make sure that that little one, when it gets here, has every chance in the world of not being deficient. Okay? Just give you essential nutrients to help ward off depression. One essential nutrient is L-tyrosine. Alleviates stress by boosting production of adrenaline. It also raises dopamine levels, which influence moods. You know, one thing we go to, and the other thing would be Subadrin from American Biologics, a dietary supplement for adrenal support. Then zinc, found to be deficient in people with depression. Use zinc glutamate, lozenges, or take it in a tablet form. And folks, what has been one of the healing factors in the pandemic? One of the main things has been zinc. Why? Because it is spoken of as an essential nutrient and is found to be deficient in people with depression. If you're depressed, how can you make good decisions? How can you remember to take your supplements? How can you be who you need to be when you are not focused on what's going on? Taurine, vitamin B complex, and they even talk about vitamin B injections for nerve and brain waves. If depression is severe, injections are recommended All injectables can be combined with a single shot, okay? Plus, when it comes to the B complex, it talks about extra vitamin B6 and vitamin B12. Or it talks about liver extract, injections plus vitamin B12. Extra pantothenic acid, which is vitamin B6. So those are what is known as essential nourishment to help with those weaknesses in our constitution. And then important, inositol, lecithin, chlorine. Helpful, calcium and magnesium, chromium. We're going to talk a little bit more about chromium. GABA, lithium. A balanced vitamin and mineral formula should be used. Vitamin C plus rutin. Now, of the things we talked about, is there something that we can do herbally wise? Is there a plant that we need to be focusing on or read up on or check into? Yeah, absolutely. Herbs, known as balm, also known as lemon balm, is good for the stomach and digestive organs during stressful situations. Where do most people hold that negativity? It's in the gut. And we say, it got me in my gut. So we need something to be able to help with that stress in the stomach. And lemon balm is one of the things they talked about. Ginger, ginkgo biloba, licorice root, oat straw, peppermint, and Siberian ginseng may be helpful. I would make a recommendation on that licorice. On a daily basis, stop after 7 days and take a break. You know, take a 7-day break, 7 days on. Avoid it completely if you have high blood pressure. Do not use Siberian ginseng if you have hypoglycemia, high blood pressure, or heart disorder, because it's a stimulant. So, kava kava helps to calm and relieve depression. I love kava kava. Spent a whole class, 8 hours. Nothing but kava kava was the topic. That's kind of crazy, but we did. And we divided up. We had it in capsules. We had it in bark form. You know, we had it in a tea form. But kava kava helps to induce calm and relieve depression. Caution, this herb can cause drowsiness. If this occurs, continue use or reduce the dosage or go to sleep and let the body heal. So kava kava, I love it. It was so good taking that class. I tell you, what was funny is that, let's see, I think I took in, I chose the bark. The lady next to me was drinking the tea. The person next to her was taking the capsules. And we had a small class, and I must say that by the time the day was over, it was just like no cares, no judgment. Everybody was happy to be there, and we just laughed at one another just for being mellow. It wasn't alcohol that did it, trying to get us to mellow out. It was kava kava, and it was a beautiful class. And just think about this for a moment. I am talking about it today, and this has been 12 to 15 years ago when I took this class. And by just remembering that good moment, remembering that time of letting the walls fall down around about us, and we not be inhibited about laughing at one another, pointing a finger at one another, or just saying, you are crazy, you look drunk, in that aspect. And all I'm saying about that is inhibitions, we weren't depressed, we were excited, and we were in love with understanding there was something we could do to make ourselves overcome the crap that continues to try to come into our life. Okay, too much on that because you didn't experience, but you may want to try some kava kava. St. John wort acts in the same way as monoamine oxide, MAO inhibitors, but less harshly. Okay, recommendations. Let's talk about them. Eat a diet that includes plenty of raw fruits and vegetables with soybeans and soy products, brown rice, millet, and legumes. A diet too low in complex carbohydrates can cause serotonin depletion and depression. If you are nervous and wish to become more relaxed, consume more complex carbohydrates. For increased alertness, eat protein meals containing essential fatty acids. Salmon and white fish are good choices. If you need your spirits lifted, you will benefit from eating foods like turkey and salmon, which are high in tryptophan and protein. See, food is your medicine, and your medicine is food. Way back when, father of medicine started that, Hippocrates. Omit wheat products from the diet. Wheat gluten has been linked to depressive disorders. Limit your intake of supplements that contain the amino acid phenylalanine. It contains a chemical phenol, which is highly allergic. Most depressed people are allergic to certain substances. If you take a combination of free-form amino acid supplement, look for a product that does not contain phenylalanine. Okay? Avoid artificial sweeteners, aspartame, NutraSweet, equal. So, avoid foods high in saturated fats. The consumption of meat or fried foods, such as hamburgers and French fries, leads to sluggishness, slow thinking, and fatigue. They interfere with blood flow by causing the arteries and small blood vessels to become blocked, and the blood cells are becoming sticky and tend to clump together, result in poor circulation, especially to the brain. See how the food makes a difference? Avoid all forms of sugar. The brain reacts more quickly to the presence of sugar than it does in the presence of complex carbohydrates. The increase in energy supplied by simple carbohydrate sugars is quickly followed by fatigue and depression. Just about all of a diet, things that are recommended. Avoid alcohol, caffeine, and processed foods. Investigate the possibility that food allergies are causing or contributed to depression. We can actually do a hair analysis for you to rule out heavy metal intoxication as the same as depression. And it's not unusual in this area to have heavy metal detoxification. Keep your mind active and get plenty of rest and regular exercise. Studies have shown that exercise, walking, swimming, any activity you enjoy is the most important for all types of depression. Avoid stressful situations. Remove yourself from that situation. Learn to recognize and then to reroute negative things or negative patterns that are coming your way. Work with a qualified professional to change ingrained habits. Can be rewarding. Keep a log. Also help recognize the distorted thoughts and develop a more positive way of thinking. Put on a positive radio station, TV station, movie. Don't get caught up in the trap of being stuck with somebody else's negativity. You know, I will share this with you. If your depression is seasonal, light therapy may help. Exposure to the sun and bright light seem to regulate the body's production of melatonin, a hormone produced by the pineal gland that is in part responsible for preventing the blues. Stay in bright lit rooms on dark days. Keep all draperies, curtains, and blinds open. Use full spectrum fluorescent lights in your home. The normal room has about 500 to 800 lux of light. Choose one room and light to about 10,000 lux of full spectrum light and spend at least half an hour a day in that room. Okay? Does that make sense to you? You know, we can talk about the different things that are there. Let's talk about, most of you are kind of familiar, if not familiar with selenium. Has been shown to elevate mood and also decrease anxiety. These effects were more noticeable in people who had lower levels of selenium in their diets to begin with. It's important. Selenium. Get it with your vitamin E. Vigorous exercise can be an effective antidote to bouts of depression. During exercise, the brain produces pain-killing chemicals called endorphins. Certain, that in brain chemicals release in response. Music can be powerful effect on mood. People suffering from depression were found to have lower than normal levels of folic acid in their blood than non-depressed individuals. Other studies have shown that zinc levels tend to be significantly lower than levels when people suffer from depression. Think about the things we've talked about over the years. Very important. It may be possible to diagnose depression by using a computerized topographer. If you feel kind of blue, sad, not happy, go-getter, and you may just have a mild form of depression. But why not do something about it so you can be happy? Okay. I'm not going to go into all that. I'll let your pharmacist talk about the pharmaceuticals that are there for depression. What this show was all about today was helping us to understand that depression may have birthing effect when we don't have the nourishment we need to overcome the stuff that we're encountering on a day-to-day basis. Why do we take the time to share with you about health and wellness. And why did we put a name, Remedy This Naturally, on our store? The reason being that there is a way to remedy with God's approach by doing things naturally with what was created. Here we go. From the earth. The world was void. And God took and created universe for us to be able to know how we could have the most coming from us to please the Creator. That's our purpose. You know, are you a parent? Are you a mother? Or you have someone in your life that is really important to you? And if you do, then normally you are looking to make them happy and pleased by your actions and your deeds to give them something to smile about. So, we should have that characteristic of wanting to please, wanting to make the one that gave us the opportunity to be here. And I stopped in the middle of that because I have heard people curse their mother and their father, wishing they'd never been born. Something is out of balance. And I understand that. So, therefore, it's more important for me to make sure I share with you that God would like us to be normal in His sense of the word, and that normal to God is loving Him, wanting the best for Him, and making Him happy. Where do you fall in this? Do you fall, you're upset, PO'd with people, and you find yourself playing along, blaming somebody else because you got to, quote unquote, endure this life? God is good all the time. And we have got to. We have got to if we want to. You know, I've got the stuff, been studying this, and the more I study, the more I realize God is light, we're light. Light reveals the truth that we need to know. And I challenge you and myself to look forward to all we can be. And I just feel like I'm kind of laid back right now on the show, and the purpose is this: knowing who, what, when, and why is okay. Not knowing who, what, when, and why is okay. If we are in the image and likeness of our Creator, whatever phase we're going through, it is just a phase. It will change. People say, you know, we've had so much rain, I wish it wouldn't rain no more. It has a purpose. He gave me an opportunity to do some things on the inside because I couldn't go and do the things on the outside. It's a balance. And we need to do that to ourselves. Remedy This Natural, 1140 Bienvenue Road. check out the cafe, check out the contract post office, check out supplements, teas. What is it you need, want, and desire for your life and your health and for those you love? Maybe God has given you the gift of helping other people. Reach out and help them. Let them understand that you are there for them and you will help them in any way you can. And be positive about it and do it. You know, it's a pleasure. I'm Claiborne Holzman from Remedy This Naturally, and we love you guys. It is so special, the testimonies and things that are shared with us. May you continue to walk in God's grace and love and find out about God's pharmacy for your wellness. Thank you. God bless. Have a great day.